价格的，唯一可以谈的是什么时候送杀伤力？那谁两个猪什么咯？两兆。
还要附近的话，尽量要平整，方便。哦，而且又加速又快，跟你一样。
丢脸啦！哎，今年又丢脸，你知道？哎呀，
不要话说。
没有加，没有谈价，就送货时间
完全没有，甚至就是哎，我愿意多一点，
结婚了吗？
这样子哇，厉害！这个巴西啊。
依然年轻的样子，
好帅气。
没有自己的强大的会了解，各种会有会出来，
应该不是学的。
只是想说，哎，
有我们是有老师、有教授、有老师。我按不下去，
哎，所以你是检察官？
我这跟经济好的时候，然后经济好的时候，大概在100块的时候。
这里应该是。欢迎，你可能跟我们多大？我错了。
他都问他结婚，
好年轻哦。对啊。真的吗？
真的，我们都以为你说第3次啊。
1977。
那我们都有第3次。
你说民国还是民国66了，66。民国62。
哦。
最近不是有一个新的事件，是很那个啊，觉得政府的判决太这个来当做教材啊，这个教训都很重。
因为说我也很清楚，分享一个口令的怎么办？这个方式就是他们一定都知道，他们在地检署还知道所有的大小都很敏感，自己都问清楚原因。然后那么多医生，什么地方走的？而且我就觉得这是我秀背了，那群刑事组的都喜欢啦，在给我处理的。对啊，就这一点，联立刑事包括这个，包括这那2个刑事啊，把它倒杀当啊哈，甚至检察官会以后啊，会发现等级会到他就打，真的是这样。明明我想2个人住在4岁，一个字面不清楚，还加上2个国旗的检察给他去的，因为我也接生啊。
但是我用医生的立场，联立检察官，他平常在办公室里面就会说，我坐在窗户旁边，会不会有人跟我开枪？他常这样问我，所以他是psyche啊，有问题的，那个是有病的，对，不像一般 normally 检察官的表现就是这样，所以这些爱同情他，反而不是要骂他，是要送医啦。因为我以前他关系用头脑好，讲你公平啊，所以讲拢是讲伊讲是用海讲，说话扩大，你知道？然后就跟他讲你讲亏钱，给他们哎，同事拢来嘛，所以这种我们会先同情他，先把这个送医。
这个讯息没有，好像
没有特别报的，
哎，没有特别
大家自己在电他了，哎，真的，所以已经在谈另外一个层面哦，它是这样的一个，
但是因为
如果照那种感觉，
那以后再来回说。可能阿伯甲肌肉，伊就说，香港安在有喊你，阿未出代志，所以啊，哎啦，我嘛就出代志，哎呀，
主要是他狗权。所以权力真的权力，差别就在权力了。这个权力啊，哈，还有那个真的，
大家都有权利的，检察官都有他的权利，只有他会做这种奇怪的，你跟他讲，他真的有病。哦，所以先送医以后，
再来观察，先看起来呢，我这足好嘞，我讲会足好嘞，家里
就是就像那个小孩放在那里。
对呀。对了，
那这是一种回力。
是啊，人家是我搞的，对呀，怕飞啊。
我一个培训啊，一样啊。他妈妈带他儿子，我也会啊，妈妈哦，他儿子走之后，这里面我跟他妈妈讲说，他妈妈被真的
发生这种事，我要请发生真的发现节律比较可怕。因为有些人那个习惯很不好，他用真的有
我们还有厉害。我走了，我
不是啊，有些没有
这个日理万机跟脑子还要高很多。
我的意思说，人，我可以想象说人会有情绪失控，需要，但是你静下来，好，过一阵子理性一点的时候，就知道说需要注意一下感觉，他好像。
我讲了，我很爱上专业的健身课，专业的课他会懂得，这是真的，这是 manager 不能
看他履历，他并不是科班出身的，他可能在地检署是很重要。
现在其实因为
其实他不是科班出身的，对，因为他是没有办法，工程师毕业，然后就
对呀，两个妈的，
但是有点，我认为他在对。
层面法律的一个情况。
对。
对啊。
这个长官他本身他被告到法律大部分法律界都是这种
有好有坏，看你是跑出来，你要去哪？如果你没有尽量往上，你第二个会想要去瞄相关的方法，没有压力，说就像交一些朋友，交一些朋友，
南京市民都要
熟悉，对不对？要不然你不知道到底做的是对的不对的。因为有很多的行业都有尴尬，对啊，那你们都要清楚，都要了解。
劳工
所以这样的会引起情绪。
那我在那边，我就两个准备好了。
人家说这两个话，它就是比较充分化，而且
现在的社会还蛮可以接受那个人出气稍微不好的，对，那是
很多人现在都还在讲
外销，这个外贸。
现在 ICD 第10版打开了雅思多格，列入好比直接叫自闭症不筛过感困难，这个是新的是，因为意思说这个本来就是自闭症，只是好的自闭症，非常好到他的记忆力perfect。所以在台大科技那一班考试完了，没有人问第1名是谁，只有问第2名是谁，一定是他嘛。他那个比较过目不忘的那种本事，可是人际关系是一塌糊涂，一边要做了，也要跟人收手。所以他事实上是自闭症，只是他是手一关，不然都热的。所以这款人就是像爱迪生啊、爱因斯坦啊、教师、贾博士，甲科比，你也有这款人才数，但是莫叫他出来做公共人物。做公共人物是乱七八糟，遮侪人无人情世事呢，真正一拢无了，假啦嘞。
这个不好，真的是不好到他为什么不好？第一个他没有那个同理心的一种，
对，完全没有。没有。
对，我搞这个我被许多就想到怀疑，要被怀疑，他没有那个。
没有。
他其实他是真的是知道这样子的，我跟你说。
然后来，
所以爱迪生那个故事就是这样。他读小学的时候，老师下棋抓底下就写跟我妈妈，他妈妈来就把他带回家。我妈妈为什么这样？老师说，哦，你实在太好了，好到老师已经没办法教了，我回来自己教。我爱迪生的故事就是赶紧讲。啊，我也带老婆细量，因为老婆一来就铁头就疯，你这个孩子是笨到哦，学校已经没办法接受。可是他的头脑就跳发明，一直发明，一直发明，包括他的电话，那你有时候这边毁龙头，火车里面实验到把人家烧起来，被那个车长打一个耳光破掉，耳膜破掉。这关天才就是假国币，就是也是科比的，科比就这样啊，就是做把坏东西，不要看同情。
我最近有看这个报道，研发这个爱迪生发明就是在商业，
说那个特斯拉的
特斯拉事情，因为他们当爱迪生发明，他们特斯拉发明，不是爱迪生。
他人际关系没有
那么好，所以才会说特斯拉发明。
基本上如果会参加社团，通常不太会这样。
比较 normal， 讲真的，别这样讲。
还好，我知道你 normal。
对，我都是比较 normal。因为像我理解这书啊，那他这样沟通，科比我懂。
因为参加社团很 normal。
你要知道科比哈，他以前有一个戳妹，有没有？蹲下来，即使在访问室，一下他讲错话，先戳他一下。啊，那个经过去年，就去年他也对，戳也没有用的样子。他现在又叫了一个拉奶就是他讲不错，他是后面拉的那个。对啊，一定要有人陪伴在他旁边，能够治他的只有那个蔡壁如那个护理长。因为他认识他嘛，他知道这家伙会出事。
这个都还小事，那精通两政啊，就在干掉，就会国安会副主委。啊，那这头两个搞到最后，
科比选总统怎么办？
我们就完了，
选上的话，
糟糕，这等于中国叫台语，这很严重。他依然很喜欢哦，你要知道他的那个40岁以下到差不多20到40这个中间，哇，打死不退。
他现在就很厉害，
对，这很麻烦。
这种网络时代啊，
哦，实在是，对，我讲安那算有一些啦，真的，他怎么选都他中。
18 starts. President Wu, please read the opening bell.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Rotarians, please all rise for the call-in test. The call-in test of the things we say or do. First, is it true? Second,
is it fair for us to learn?
Third, fourth, please be seated. Rotary Soul, PDF.
Yes.
Then we have you to read us.
R-O-T-A-R-Y, Gospel Rotary. R-O-T-A-R-Y is known and seen. From north to south, from east to west, big prophets who serve the best. R-O-T-A-R-Y, Gospel Rotary.
Thank you, PPF. Please stay with us, and we need you to introduce our guest today.
Yes, we are very honored and pleased to have two distinguished guests today. First of all is the speaker, the
head of the prosecutor office 林彥良
检察
主任检察官。The second is his superior as the how to say the head of the chief or director of the prosecutor office 张宏谋张检察长。非常荣幸有他们2位光临跟我们分享，谢谢。
Thank you, Divya. Thank you, Vicky. We don't have to work here today.
Okay.
And welcome our guests. President Tsai.
Good afternoon, our distinguished guests and speaker and our fellow Rotarians. You know, Rotary Club is a very special social club where we get together. Normally, we feel very nervous when we're in the same room with the prosecutors. Today I actually kind of feel honored and privileged to have that prosecutor and the chief prosecutor here with us. So I'd like to welcome them on behalf of Rotary Club of Taiwan Dathong, and thank you, Phil, for arranging today's speaker. Last weekend, we had a Group 4 informal meeting hosted by Amy, who's not here today. We had a good talk about charter, a lot of interesting new ideas. But for all of parents, if you have any special ideas or thoughts, feel free to share with us. I want to thank all the members for attending that informal meeting. And next, we have 大同好声音 our karaoke coming up August 18th. I think it's 2018, 0818 and 1800. I don't know how many 8s there are, but the next time you're going to see that many 8 again, it's probably another 100 year. So do sign up with Ann and come join us for our karaoke event and especially thanks to our IPP Simon and JC for hosting, Jess for hosting the event. 2018 8月18 18年 You want to go buy a lotto? You want to go buy a lotto before you come? Get a lottery ticket. And on behalf of Sophia, toward the end of the month on August 23rd, she's going to host a spouse program, making desserts. I think the spouses or members who attend will get 4 desserts, and we'll make 4 desserts and drink while they're there, and it should be kind of fun. Feel free to sign up with Sophia or Ann. Let me know if you need any other information. There's a parking lot about 5 minutes from the shop. I will give Ann more information on the direction. Okay, that'll be all.
Thank you. Just a short reminder that we will have a board meeting next week on August 9th. So all members, please reserve your time after the meeting. Okay, now coming up is our main program of today. So may we have Bernard to introduce our speaker.
Thank you, and then good afternoon, everyone. It is my honor and pleasure to introduce my 2 good friends. The first one is today's speaker, head prosecutor, and the chief prosecutor, Zhang Hongmo先生. And recently the newspaper reported that something. I don't think so, because just like doctor, different characteristics, and I think all of my friends who come here, you can see they are friendly and kind. Just like 吴志旺主任检察官，还有那个保护部长还有那个黄先生主任检察官，那个部长但他们看到都很平易近人所以这是少数了，少数不说我们看 special news 看出来所以不要被误导。我所知道他们认识他们20几年，非常 justice, friendly, and very kind. We welcome to this speaker. We need them to.
Thank you, Bernard. So we have our speaker today, Mr. Lee.
Well, before the formal presentation, let me tell you a secret. One of my colleagues who is prosecutor in Hualien District Prosecutor's Office, you know him. Actually, I know him since he was in junior high. Actually, he's my classmate in Yonghe Junior High School. He's always on top of our list. During the 3 years in junior high, I never get better score than him. He is so-called 学霸. He's great. So let's say the study achievement, I just can't. He's very great. He got graduated from Jianguo Zhongxue and then National Taiwan University. I don't know how to say it. 土木系.
Yeah.
Civil engineering. Yes, civil engineering. That's great. And somewhat he gave up this this industry and offered his job to as a law practitioner. I haven't seen him for such a long time until yesterday. he take a bow and formally apologized to all the prosecutors. We are very severely hurt during this incident. Let me explain that. Just like that's my belief that we prosecutors have to go outside of our office. We have to contact to a variety of business and industry so that we can understand the other areas. It is surprisingly enough, I just learned that the chair, Chair Liao is is very successful in kindergarten. So anyway, very honored to have the floor. Today I will introduce to you my rap is about telecoms. I don't know if I choose the right word in English. I mean 电信诈骗. Which means, well, it's a kind of cybercrime. It was run by elites, or so-called the scam artists. They are really, in my words, they are very elite. They are elites. They can, together with some IT experts, they can just raise money. from thousands of miles away. They are really great. Today I will be introducing to you the nature of this telecom scheme, the organization and the provision, as well as how they can rake up money. So that's my plan. I will firstly I'll be introducing to you the nature and the organization of telecom scheme, or 电信诈骗. And secondly, I will introduce to you the coping strategy. That's what we put our efforts on in the recent decade. One of the most complicated problem is the jurisdiction problem. We'll touch upon that. In Chinese, it's called 管辖权问题. You know that. It's kind of talk of war, jurisdiction war. When some case was get caught in the, let's say, in a country other than Taiwan and China, let's say Cambodia or Spain, those mainlanders in Taiwanese claim that, oh, this case is my case. They have their legal ground, and we will touch about that. Whose words is powerful and whose words is reasonable. I think it is this problem stems from the overlapped sovereignty. That's a very serious and complicated question. And that leads to some concurrent jurisdiction. I mean, 因为我们主权上面的一些定义这可能从宪法上面的问题，所以就会引申到大家管辖权上面的一个理解不同。这一块 I don't want to get into some political issues. May I notice that? I just want to mention that that may lead to some legal problems. And what can we do currently? Where is the quick fix since the telecom is out of control? I mean, the telecom scheme is out of control. I will touch upon some status quo, how to interact with foreign police officers and the prosecutors, how to team up with the law enforcement to get those criminals down. And finally, I will directly suggest how to deal with the problem. May I notice that I'm giving my suggestion with private perspective, not on behalf of my office, not on behalf of my authorities, and of course not on behalf of my boss, chief prosecutor. So I can keep my job. You know, there is one question I kept asking myself, especially after the Kenya incident. That is, should we bring all cross-border Taiwanese criminals home? And for what reason? For justice? I don't know. And is there any other ways of implementing justice? Is there the only way that we should get all the Taiwanese back? Then we can say that their human rights were secured. Is it the only way? And it is good for those crime-fighting policy. I don't know. So let's get into our, first of all, let me introduce to you the nature and the organization of the telecom scheme. I try to explain to the distinguished guests. I bet all of you think all of you ever received some 电话诈骗. If you ever received that, please raise your hand. Yeah, absolutely. All those scams comes from some call center. In the very beginning, the call center was set in Taiwan. And when they got calls again and again, they removed the call center to some Southeast Asian countries. 就到东南亚那边去设这个诈骗机房。And when we set some task force, 就是专案团队 and we make some collaboration with Southeast Asian police officers and the prosecutors. We catch them and bring them back to Taiwan. Then they say it's time to move again. They move from Southeast Asian countries to some Southern Asian countries like Sri Lanka, and they get farther and farther from
Iran,
Poland,
yes.
and further they went to Spain.
Good.
Nowadays we discovered they have set their foot on some Latin American countries. Our airlines 就是我们的友邦啊，到我们友邦那里去了。What other plots? What they do in the call center? Usually they send some mass transmission. They use mass transmission by robot. This is something like 这是最后一，我先说英文。This is the very last warning call from the High Court. You have ignored our subpoena, 就是传票。You have ignored our subpoena for twice, and you are about to under arrest. If you have any question, please dial 9. 这是最后一次通知哦，因为你已经不理我传票2次以上。如果说了就是说我们准备要逮捕你，这是一次通知。如果你有任何问题，请按9。When we dial 9, then here comes a real person. Say something like, we prosecutors call the very first ones line first, 一线. What did they do was, oh, this is the court staff, and what's the problem with you? How can I help you? When the victim is hooked, they eagerly try to find a solution and find what's going on. Well, the 一线 or the first line will say, oh, please give me your information, and all the personal information was collected. And then they, one by one, let's say, they will pass or extend the line to the second person who played police officer, and then prosecutors. The clerk and the police officer and the prosecutors, they one by one escalate the seriousness of the professed crime. 他们就是一层一层的去越讲越严重，越讲越严重。Finally, the plot goes to the ATM stage. 不管要怎么骗哦，弄到最后就是到 ATM 这边去。I would say the top gun will usually they are the line third or third line. 他们是3线成员。They will lead some victims to some ATM and give them instructions. Things like, oh, I think you're kind of innocent, but your money in your account was somewhat mixed with some criminal proceeds.
你的钱啊跟其他人跟坏人的钱好像混在一起。So you have to withdraw all the money or transmit all the money to some secure account, designated secure account. That all the money will be saved there. And we will certainly give you a receipt. We'll certainly give you a receipt from our prosecutor's office, signed by some chief prosecutor. That's their plight. Plus, I mean, the plus authors would have some adjustment, but the basic plus is something like that. As for the regarding the divisions of scheme, let me explain. What I just said was the call center. They all flock together in a number of 10 to 20% somewhere in the world. They have to make phone call to cheat others, to cheat Taiwanese, to cheat mainland Chinese. How can they do that? They have to get other expertise to get their jobs down. They should have some mediation service. In the section, there are IT experts. Can you imagine? The thing is something like some underground Taiwan Daredevil, underground China Mobile. They offered some telecom connections and get money from every connections. Other than that, it is a necessity to have some money laundering section. Having all the money get into the ATM account, there should have someone in the syndicate to transfer all the money among 4 to 10 accounts. 大概洗钱洗大概4到10次啊。And as you can see, in Taiwan, there are some young person driving their motorcycle and they get some instruction, go to the ATM and withdraw all the money. All the money was separated into a number that can be withdrawn from the ATM. And they one by one collect all the money back to the boss. That's how they work. And that is a very serious situation. You know, in this organization, even we can get into this, we can search the call center, we get no money from the call center because all the money was controlled, handled, and dispatched by the money laundering section. So, as you can see, that's what we call it's international organized crime, and surprisingly, that it is made in Taiwan. 但是我这整套东西大概都是台湾，尤其是台中这边起来。So what do we do about it? I think in 2009, there is a very important agreement made by 海基会 and 海协会. This is called the 海峡两岸共同打击犯罪及司法互助协议. Which might call it in English. It's called Joint Crime Fighting and Mutual Legal Assistance Agreement in Criminal Matters. 这个海峡两岸共同打击犯罪协议呢 ，by this agreement, there are some we have some great leap on cooperation with the mainland, the cops and the prosecutors from the mainland. Here are some details you can look through yourself. And may I notice that this agreement was somewhat based on some political compromise called the 1992 consensus. 九二共识. It is by that consensus the communist China's allowed himself to go forward to make this agreement. And well, from 2009 to 2016, we really did some great job. Among them was the very first one that was made in 2011 after the birth of that agreement. The mission 0310 或者叫做电视上常说的 Con Air 空中监狱啊。This is the very first big case. It's a large scale telecom scam case. Well, I was the case's commander. This case was successfully made in Taichung District Prosecutor's Office. Firstly, we enacted some joint fighting. We do some information exchange with the man-named police officers, and we chose a D-Day, which I remember was June 9, 2011. And we have a raid. 我们有一个联合行动 in Taiwan, China, and the 6, I remember it, and 6 South Asian, East Asian countries. 大概有8个国家不同法院，大家一起来就是做成这个案子啊。The result is 598 scam artists was arrested, and 491 hand over to the squads or some task forces respectively. I mean, Taiwanese back to Taiwan and Malaysians back to Myanmar. After that case, again and again, we proved that the mechanism made by the agreement was successful. From 2009 to 2016, and things has changed. 从肯雅案以后，事情就不大一样了。Things went fine and dandy until the Kenya incident. On April 13, 2016, a group of Taiwanese deported from Kenya to China after being acquitted of related cybercrimes. 肯雅案在2016年的时候，也就是在我们总统大选结束之后，事情就有些不同了。This is the photo I collected from the newspaper. And you remember that among the deportee is a 28-year-old 一个叫刘太平的 young man, and whose mother Rachel Liu, also called 刘妈妈, turned to Taiwanese lawmakers for help, said her son was innocent and she did not know about China's judicial system. And the lawmaker Luo Zhizhen also said that Taiwanese or some Taiwanese are wondering if those people can get a fair trial in China. They say that China's idea of, or some comments say things like that. China's idea of rule of law is getting what it wants when it wants, even if that means running roughshod over human rights. That represents some point of view from our part. But I noticed that, interestingly enough, on the flip side, a great number, according to what I see during that, what I saw during that period, a great number of Taiwanese doesn't see anything wrong with having those bad guys harshly punished by mainlanders. From them, those criminals are nothing but Taiwan's so-called human garbage, or 人渣 human garbage, according to my sister, who was a teacher. He said that human garbage belongs to garbage bin or garbage can, trash can. Who cares if this trash can is made in Taiwan, made in China? That's their point. And that represents the other part of Taiwanese point of view. During that period, I followed the director Chen Wenqi during that Kenya period. I went to Beijing, followed by I followed Chen Wenqi to Beijing to do some negotiate to see if they can if it's possible to send those Taiwanese back to Taiwan. And what I actually did in that in the negotiation is I insist there is a status quo and it goes fine and dandy. Why? Why should we? Why do we have to change that? We get plenty of scam criminals back. Just to do the status quo, just let it go on. Let Taiwanese back to Taiwan and the mainlanders back to mainland, and then we can exchange all the evidences. Things will fine, but they don't agree. This negotiation, I would say that little headway had been made during the negotiation. Even when we were in Beijing, another scam artist groups was, let's say, repatriated to or deported to Guangdong. They host, what all the mainlanders say? They think differently. They say, they say that the mainland China claims jurisdiction in such cases because it says the victim are residents of mainland China. They say if the victims is from mainland, then they are our men, and that is our case. 只要是骗大陆人的，那我们就要把人抓回来。我们就要把人抓回来。只要你敢骗大陆人，我就把你抓回来。And they say based on reciprocity， 就是平等互惠的话，如果台湾人被骗，我也可以把你送去给你。They say that, but they never do that. Well, we are law practitioners, so we have to look back to some legal grounds of jurisdiction. Let's say I collected that from some textbook with some simple forms to bring the alleged authors or the criminals of cross-border crime to books. This specific crime should have some sort of links with the state. 我们要把这个坏人要抓到哪个地方去的话，你要看管辖权啊。There are 5 main principles. First of all, the territorial principle 就是一个犯罪地管辖原则which speaks the links of the offense. 这个谁犯罪的话那在哪里犯罪了，这个地方就取得管辖。And other than that, secondly, we have nationality principle. 国籍管辖，哦 ，That's our favorite。说这个是台湾人的话呢，哦，那这个坏人啊，那就是应该国籍管辖，谁犯错就把他带回国家来了。And we also have passive nationality principle. Links of is 18. Chinese loves that. 被害人在这个大陆的话，我们就要把人拿回来。We also have a universal principle, which was the recent trend. We even take this principle into our criminal code. 我们做过一次刑法的修法，就是把这个世界管辖的原则放进去，就是不管他是在哪边犯罪，是被害人是谁，加害人是谁，这件事情我台湾的检察官就管定了这样子。现在是要这样去主张，我们才有这个管辖。Somewhat, I think it's good emphasis our will to combat this crime. So, I have introduced the legal grounds. And what's the answer? Territorial principle, let's say a Spanish fraud case. 如果是西班牙的案件的话 ，Spain gives, but they don't want this case. They just want, oh, you Chinese, Italians, you just leave us alone. A nationality principle, score 1, we got 1 score. And passive nationality, Chinese got it, or mainlanders get that, the universal principle. But it was not, you just can't count on that to find a solution because there is no answer. Different jurisdictions, they claim that they can take this case back, but there is still no answer because it is concurrent jurisdiction. Everybody can, every jurisdiction can say that, but they just can't find the answer. The worst thing is we don't have an international court to say that, oh, this case to Taiwan and that case to China. We don't have that. The whole world, we don't have that. So, how can we find this answer? If we don't find the answer, we will set ourselves and the managers back to some tug of war. 每天去抢人就好了。What are the rules? What are the clear line? Can we draw a line to say that, oh, this case is yours, or this case is mine? Let's get who gets what. 看看谁拿到什么样的案件。My suggestion is, what the question sounds or seems complicated, especially add on some political antagonism, but it's also simple. I say evidence is king. Yes, there are several jurisdictions who can say that this case is our case, but the upper goal of this international cooperation, I would say that the rule of thumb, 最重要的一个原则是什么？ We have to combat. We have to drag all these criminals down. We have to bring them to courts, bring them to justice. And how can we bring them to justice? Our answer is clear: evidence. Because we are only according to evidence can a court arrest somebody and give them some sentencing and put them to jail and make the justice realized. So that's my point, and that's my suggestion. We have to check how many evidence, the evidence was scattered, how the evidence is scattered. If all the evidence is in Taiwan, then I will say that I will talk to the other jurisdictions that we can handle that. We can bring them back and we can put them to jail. Vice versa. do think it's a good way, and we can really, again, we can really focus on the criminals other than some political issues or some 1992 consensus. I believe it works. Yes, all those victims are mainly from China. 大部分现在大家都在骗哦，大家是骗中国人，中国人比较多，这是真的哦，这是真的。You're sorry to say that, but there are still many evidence we can get in some specific case. Yeah, quickly share some photos with you. This is Zhong Junshen An. This case was also my case. Shortly after the Kenya incident, 在肯雅案后，我们跟印尼这边做了一件案件。See what we get. In the call center, you think they do? They should have clerks. They have cops, handsome prosecutors, or some big time. But they actually do this. They work here. This is the clerk. This China Mobile, and this is Beijing police officers, and this is our police. This prosecutor's office sitting here. They just forwarded the phone call from one another. This is also a very sensational case. Some limitation. I think finally we maybe we can let's take it. Take a quick browse of this. 这就是他们的 phishing websites. 那 there 这个拘捕令啊，他们这什么都会发得出来。At least 1 minute. Let's share it and let's make a conclusion. It's what we get, the file. 这可以直接播吗？ It's a real case.
放大，让它放大就可以。
喂，骗子是不？
这是骗大陆的。
喂，你好，师傅。啊，你好，这边是政府公司呀。你说他怎么说是骗子啊？那整个就是停止我使用了，我刚交的费你就停止我使用，我昨天刚交的电话费，昨天刚交的电话费，今天就给你不使用啊？对呀，那怎么回事？你是骗子啊？你是说我们中国电信是骗子是吗？你是中国电信的啊？啊，不然是哪里？你南方哪个城市？这不像富士电信的人呀，你像中国电信吗？你给我说句呼市话，我跟你说句福州话，福州话啊，那中国电信怎么跑到福州了？中国电信怎么好东西？那你们每天你们就为了啥不好，那怎么老骗人呢啊？你如果说是这样说的话，我也肯定让你们好了每天啊。我们这个都是积德，那给你们孩子谁是积点德吧？我们学生有这个好骗了，你知道？我们这些电信诈骗太多了，骗子骗子，
This is the phone call from Yixie, the first line, and what we've learned is that 如果你台湾腔很重的话，那这个诈骗的机会就比较长。Here, let me wrap my speech up. I would say that it's my strong belief. Justice doesn't take sides. No matter who you are, no matter where you are from, justice must be served. That concludes my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lin. And is there any question?
Question from the floor. Can I ask a quick question? Just curious, out of curiosity. Do you have an estimation or ballpark of what's the revenue, gross revenue of this phone scam per year? Just curious, because that could be sounds kind of interesting.
Sorry, I don't bring with some facts and figures, but according to the real case, I was in charge in around 2010. The defendant said that within 1 month he can earn $2 million in the little call center. And well, I maybe after the presentation, I can give you some the facts, the figures that we get.
Any other questions? Essen?
Hi, Chief Prosecutor. Oh, well, thank you. So,
well, there's so many cases are similar to each other. So maybe we believe that there's some head brand behind all these organizations. So I'm curious about, is there any new plan that you are trying to hunting down the brand? Because as I know, I used to be the scumbags defender because I was defending for some young men. They are so easy to be recruited by those elderly criminals because they want to have quick money. So that's the reason we have a lot of young guys in jail right now. So to me, I'm pretty pissed off because of those guys. They're always behind all these young faces and always will not be hunting down. So that's my question. Is there any new project that you are trying to tracing down to figure out who is the boss behind this organization? Yeah, that's my question. Thank you.
Thank you for your question. And this is also the question Chief Prosecutor every day, twice a day. Well, as for our office, as far as I know, we tried to really catch that, or really bring the headquarters to justice. Our plan is that we have to persuade the court of law to put some really high sentencing to the call center criminals. If they feel that they feel the pressure, and from there we can do some negotiation with the criminals. If you collaborate with us and tell us who your boss is, then we can really get those person in the headquarters. Actually, we have did some successful cases in Taichung. I think in the mountain, I think dozens of so-called Jinju from headquarters. They invested those call centers, and they hide behind. If we can take some customer need from the insiders, then we can really crack them down. Of course, I really need some help from lawyers because for some defendants, they don't believe us. They see us just like enemies. But lawyers or someone in some specific cases, they're somewhat like friends. We're trying to help you. And, it's especially in my case, I would say that if you can, in every case, I just want to catch that big guy because he is the one who should be blamed, and I really want that person to be severely punished. And if you can help it to find that one, I don't care. You can enjoy the very lenient sentencing. At least I will make the suggestion to the judge in criminal court. Hope I answered some your question. Thank you.
Thank you. Later on, if we have any other question, then we send it to later. So, Mr. Lee, please receive our gift from President Wu.
谢谢啊，谢谢。谢谢他长一起，谢谢。这个分你开我这边来。OK， 谢谢。
下一张哦。
谢谢。
And I don't know if you noticed that Mr. Lin and Essen has a similar English accent because they all graduated from Zhengzhou Dashi. Very gentleman. Thank you. Okay, attendance report. May we have Phoebe Pan?
Okay, let me have today's attendance report. We have 21 Rotarians, no visiting Rotarian, and 3 guests. So total attendance rate is 66%. 66, not bad.
Okay, Phoebe Pan. Sergeant at our report today we have PD data.
Thank you, the prosecutor, Mr. Lin, for this wonderful speech. We got 4 donations from our member. First, we have a donation from President Wu. Thank you, Head Prosecutor, Mr. Lin, for your interesting speech. 1,000. And then we have a donation from our Secretary Jimmy. Thanks, Head of Prosecutor, Mr. Lin, for your speech. And we have our PP, Simon, donation. Thanks, the Prosecutor Lin, wonderful speech. Today is my birthday. Thanks, thanks all our fellow members. And then donation from the Essen. It is always good to see the prosecutors fighting for justice and the due process. Thanks. That's the donation.
Thank you, Phoebe. Okay, next week we will have coffee speech from Feng Qian Jianse, 总经理刘瑞林先生, and we will also have a board meeting. So please hope everybody can attend the meeting. Okay. Please adjourn the meeting. President Wu.
Thank you, everyone. Enjoy the rest of the day.